School meetings can be stressful for parents. This is a guide to help you make the most out of your meeting with school. In Scotland, we have the Getting It Right for Every Child system. Under this system, children who are care experienced should be presumed to have additional needs and be entitled to additional supports, including GIRFIC planning meetings where their progress is monitored and supports put in place. However, because the education recording system still uses the terminology looked after children and adopted children aren't looked after anymore, it may be that you have to discuss your child's needs with school using the terminology care experienced and ask for your child to be included in the supports automatically given to children who are looked after or previously looked after. The terminology of meetings varies between local authorities. Sometimes these are called Team Around the Child meetings or planning meetings. These meetings at school can be very stressful experiences for families, particularly where their child presents very differently in the home and at school. It can also be quite intimidating for parents when there are a number of professionals facing them around the table. When you are so passionately invested, if you cannot articulate or make yourself understood, and it feels as if teachers don't get it, then the stress builds even more. At the planning meeting, you should expect anyone working with the child to be present. Very often the meetings are chaired by a member of the school management team, and someone from the school team will take the minutes. If you are accessing additional support from CAMS, Child and Mental Health Services, or from post-adoption support, it's a good idea to invite them to be present too. Don't assume school will automatically invite these people. It might be a good idea to email the names of the people you want to be present and ask school to invite them. You may also wish to take along an advocate or a family friend to support you, particularly if your relationship with school is strained or if you are feeling overwhelmed by your child's needs. Depending on your child's needs, the educational psychologist might be present too. You can ask for the educational psychologist's input and advice at any point. In fact, some local authorities will even let you approach the educational psychology department directly, and you don't have to go through school. As the meeting is about your child's views should also be represented at the meeting, and schools will often meet the child ahead of the meeting to find out how things are going from the child's point of view. Sometimes children will be present at the meeting for some or even all of the time. These meetings are likely to happen once or twice a year or more if there is significant needs. GIRFIC meetings have a clear agenda. They focus on strengths, concerns, strategies, action points. The meeting format is designed to reflect on progress so far and to respond to any emerging needs. The focus should be very much on future supports and the overall tone responsive rather than reactive. The meeting format is designed to put children at the centre, which should encompass both home and school environments. The meeting shouldn't be just about how the child presents in school, but should look at the child's needs overall. It may be a good idea to look over any documentation you have for your child so information is fresh in your mind. Perhaps recent reports, any learning targets that have been sent home, or reports from support agencies. Sometimes it's also a good idea to look back at your child's Form F and to remind yourself of their early experiences too. This can sometimes put their needs and progress into perspective. It can be a good idea to have a profile of your child to refer to. Have a think about what you think teachers and professionals need to know to be able to support your child effectively. But remember, you're not sharing their whole life story. Often our children's developmental age varies considerably from their chronological age, and often it's not consistent. One day they might be able to do something and another they can't. Making your own profile means that you have important information to hand when you're talking about your child. It's important to share key triggers, concerns and strategies. Knowing the likes and dislikes can help staff to build a good relationship with your child. Think about what action you want to see from the meeting, and if you can't think of an action, then you may not need a planning meeting. Remember the structure of the meeting. strengths, concerns, strategies, action points. On the right of this picture, you can see the Shinari Wellbeing Wheel and the different areas that we should be looking at in order to get it right for every child. At the meeting, make sure you know who everyone is and what their role is. Make sure that someone is taking minutes and that the minutes will be circulated after the meeting. Ask for clarification whenever it is needed, and at the end, establish what the action points are and who is responsible. Remember that each person at the meeting has knowledge and experience to share. Keep in mind the different presentations your child can have at home and school. Everyone in the meeting will want to get it right for your child. Perspective is everything. Keep in mind the context and what is practical and manageable given the circumstances. As parents, we know the pure joy of our child, but we also know how difficult they can be, and a teacher can have up to 33 children with a variety of needs to relate to at any one time. Remember, the focus is on supporting your child in school and at home. When everyone works together, then there is much more chance that we are going to get it right for the child. Think about the action you want to see coming from this meeting. There might be small adjustments in terms of relational changes, identification of key adults, use of restorative practices, and nurturing language. There might be practical adjustments, changing seats to emphasise safety, the identification of a safe place, access to lunch clubs. It might be referring on for support from an outside agency. Care experienced children can have priority access to forest school places, mentoring, or support from additional support for learning services, play therapy, art therapy, counselling. These are often run by organisations in the voluntary sector such as Barnardo's. For further information, explore the Adoption UK website. In our Scotland section, you will find a number of fact sheets to support education. If your child is likely to have had any prenatal alcohol exposure, you'll find a range of supports in the FASD hub. If your family or your child is struggling, you may wish to explore TESA and take advantage of the excellent support on offer there. If you have particular questions about education and the support on offer, then do give our helpline a call, and remember too that Adoption UK can support your child's school also.